What if you could change your life? What if sorrow could become joy and the darkness the light? What if you could heal not only yourself, but those around you? Well, you can. It's called alchemy. And these are the Alchemy Sisters. Join quantum karmic healer Jenny McDaniel and intuitive empowerment coach Mandy Elam for a magical journey into esoteric spiritual discussions. Brought to you by Heart Over Ego Radio.
Hello and welcome to the Alchemy Sisters. You are here with Mandy and Jenny. Hey Jenny, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good in this pre-retrograde. Enjoying the day. Got a session with my new employer in Albuquerque. The place is called Amethyst, and I'll be doing this interesting energy massage technique, one that's even new to me, even though I've been doing energy massage for about 15 years. She's got a whole other category of it, and it's super fun. So I had a really good day so far. How about you?
So far, so good. I had a pretty productive morning, and then I got hit with some heavy energy this afternoon. And it was kind of funny because I took a little break and laid down and looked on Facebook, and like 8 other empaths were like complaining about heavy energy. So I don't know if there was a solar storm or what was happening, but I just honored my rhythm and took a little break. And I think this past full moon was pretty intense. I certainly felt it a lot. So maybe we just needed some recovery.
Yeah, you pair that full moon and butt it up with the pre-retrograde, you're gonna feel it, and you did.
Exactly. Well, I am very, very excited about our guest tonight. It's one of our favorite friends, Cinnamon Moon. She is an incredibly wise shamanic healer, and she has over 50 years of experience as a reader, and we are just really excited to hold space with her tonight. She's also an author and the host of a radio show, Cinnamon Moon at Night, here on Blog Talk Radio, and we just adore her. So I'm going to bring her on. Hey, Cinnamon, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm great. How are you girls doing?
Oh, we are so good and so excited to connect with you. We had some typical Mercury retrograde technical difficulties.
Isn't that typical? Well, congratulations. This is your 3rd season, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is our 3rd season, and
Good
so excited to have you
you.
in the 2nd session. You're our 2nd show of our 3rd season, and we're so happy you're here. Cinnamon is a magical human, and like Mandy discussed, she's got 50 years experience, so she is a wise woman, no doubt. So how are you handling this pre-retrograde, Cinnamon?
I'm doing okay. I tell you, I think I'm so well sealed that I'm not feeling the weight of it. I've been working with my guides rather heavily, and I think they've just got me shielded from it. I'm getting a lot of work taken care of, so I'm making use of the energy because other people are getting held up on things, or they're getting weighted down, or they need energy, and so they're resting a lot. Lots of different symptoms. I think everybody reacts a little differently, but I'm using the time as wisely as I can so that I can get as much out of it as possible,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What are some of the energies that you are trying to work with? I know you like to send a lot of blessings into the wind and work with the elements and hold space for your clients. What are some things that you are putting energy into during this retrograde season?
Well, it's pretty much a steady focus on global affairs and just transmuting the negativity that's existing in many, many different areas, communities, countries, cultures. I just working toward peace, working toward bringing states of harmony, sending out love and blessings every single day. And for me, that's very important work. It's something I spend a good deal of time every morning doing. And then it's working with my clients and helping them to adjust to the energy shifts as they come through. So I keep pretty busy.
I bet that global energy is really crazy, and I'm working on alchemizing it too. We have a sister network called Third Eye Political Radio, and we don't sit on one side or the other. We sit mostly in the middle, a lot of gray, and we've been alchemizing and neutralizing and shining lights on the confusion and the chaos and the distraction, and of course, global warming and just all the chaos, the war. We've been covering a lot of it, and I'm glad you're also doing the global work too. That puts me at ease a bit more help. Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of us out there working at that. I don't. Mm-hmm. How am I going to put this? Years ago, I sat down with guidance and I said, I pray every day for the state of the world, for all life forms, and I want peace. And they turned around to me and they said, you do realize that Earth is a school, and everybody is here to learn something, so they're going to have to experience a variety of situations. And, yeah, I get that, but that doesn't mean I can't work toward world peace. So, I still pray for it, even with the understanding that we're all here to learn, we're all here to experience, do certain things so that we have either the compassion or the understanding we need to evolve in the ways that every individual needs to evolve. And that same premise works for cities, states, countries, and any body of any sort. So I think that I've got that understanding and I have the tolerance for it with that understanding. But that doesn't stop me from doing the energy work and prayer and sending it out there so that even if you have to learn a lesson, maybe I can ease it a little bit for you, you know.
And that's it. Even though we're here learning and growing and moving through lessons, it's always nice to have some bolstering, someone to help you reflect on it or to understand it and to just get a little bit of relief every once in a while. I agree. I looked at that before with my guides and I was like, wow, it's a hell of a state we have here on this planet. And they're like, that's the design of it. That's why you're here. You like the heavy gravity. You like to buckle up and hold on and see where you end up. And apparently a bunch of us old souls really dig on it because here we are playing ball together.
Well, I think we came with a purpose, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us are meant to walk a path of service and others are here to do something else, you know. But in one way or another, we all serve. We all have things that move us and touch us in some manner, and some people are creators and they invent new ways to undo the things that have been done. I mean, I get excited when I see these young people, and by young people I'm talking about young teens, 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, that are discovering cures for disease and alternative energy sources or ways to clean up the environment or protect an endangered. They're doing all sorts of things that the older generation hasn't been able to do or hasn't done, and they're seeing the need and they're going, well, why don't we do it this way? You know, so
and
I think that gives hope. That gives a lot of hope to this planet, you know, to clean up the oceans, to clean up the rivers, and the lakes, and preserve life rather than destroy it. I think that's very commendable. So I find that exciting.
Yes, and I know it is exciting. It's kind of like there's others, but Greta, she really got the spotlight there, and she still has the spotlight. And there's a ton of those type of star children, we'll call them, out in the world. She's just one of them. And since she got popular, I've been seeing more and more stories of so many more activists right around her age. And thank the goddess that they're coming up behind us. I think that it's this generational healing. I love seeing it. And everyone gives the millennials crap, but you know what? I like them. I like what they're doing. I like how they don't buy Downy and don't eat at Applebee's.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can say that the generation is messed up, and there are some that are. I won't deny that. But I think there are equally just as many intelligent, compassionate, caring young people out there today, and we need to give them the credit for what they're doing, because they're taking the responsibility of an adult at a very young age, and they're responding with it. They're not weighted. They find it passionate work for themselves. They're driven, and I think they are very old souls that know exactly what they're doing.
I believe it too.
Yeah.
I do too. That resonates with me a lot. And I think about that, and I think about that, and I discuss it with my clients a lot. It's like, we did come down here to incarnate into Earth School, and if we take a little step back, it's like, okay, everything kind of is perfect for the highest good. But I feel like there's certain things that I am meant to help with, and I'm meant to influence, and I'll feel these triggers within me. And it's not necessarily like a trauma trigger, but it's like a fire or a rumble into wanting to put some energy into something, whether it's, changing the eating system, or like you said, helping clean up the oceans, or, working on animal abuse prevention, or whatever it is. I always like to explain, or a conversation that's been coming up recently with a lot of empaths is like, sometimes not all triggers are bad, and sometimes they're meant to guide you a little bit into where your energy is meant to be served. And if you take a step back and listen to your intuition, it'll let you know.
Yes, absolutely. And I think more and more people are tuning into themselves and are paying attention to those little nudges. And for those listening, when you get a nudge and it gives you pause, that's guidance. That's guidance that's stopping you long enough to look. And if you start paying attention to those nudges, they get stronger and stronger and stronger until you go, okay, I got it, the first time it comes around, because they're going to keep nudging you until you pay attention. Or they're going to back off because you're totally ignoring them, and that's your option too. You can ignore them. But if you want to grow and evolve, pay attention to the nudges and listen to what your heart's telling you, because that's where the spirit speaks.
Agreed. I often teach discernment. I love it. We love having you on your soapbox. Yeah, just discernment. It's a big deal. Everyone's going to have a different truth, and the only way you can find your personal truth is to feel it out, to go ahead and express it and to check it out and to see how you respond to it, not how everyone else is responding to it, even though that can be helpful too. I listen to my friends with, they'll tell me certain types of healings to try, and I'll be like, I'll try that. And then I'll discern in my own time during that session if that type of work is for me at that moment. And it's always good to take people's thoughts and ideas, but also to dissect them for yourself. It's a huge spiritual lesson. When you're a psychic like I am and you hear and feel and know as opposed to see, you get discernment skills real quick because you have entities talking to you and you have to learn real quick how to discern if it's high vibed or not, and if you want to engage with it or not. And how do you do that when you can't see? Well, you feel, and that's your truth.
Mm-hmm. And those feelings are very important. If it's a low vibe being that's coming to you, you're not going to feel comfortable.
You're not.
You might get chills. You might get hairs rising up on the back of your neck or the top of your head. That can happen with a good entity too. But it's putting you on notice that there's something spiritual taking place, and you'd better pay attention. And if it feels uncomfortable, then tell them, if you're not here for my higher good, I want you to leave. And say it with firmness. Don't play around. Don't be timid.
Let them know who's boss.
That's right. It's your space. You invite who comes into it. So make some discerning choices. And you don't have to be judgmental of anybody else or how they're doing it or what they're doing with their lives. Be tolerant. If you've been there before, bless them because you know what they're getting into. And if you haven't been there before and you haven't done the things they're doing, you can still send them blessings and say, I can see you're heading down a path of shadow. I'm sorry. Here's blessings. You're going to need them. You know, and wish them well. Wish them well. Because if you can send good energy to somebody and bring happiness into their life, they're far less apt to do something negative. Pretty hard to be mad and mean if you're happy. Think about it.
Very true.
It doesn't work. So that's how you counter it. I counter it with joy and happiness. Yeah.
That's
so what have you ladies been doing?
Alchemy Sisters. Mandy, you want to start us off?
Yeah, well, we just started our third season here on the Alchemy Sisters on Heart Over Ego Radio, and we've been busy. I relocated back home to New Jersey, and I've been planting some roots a little bit, and just hosted my first in-person gathering on Saturday night, and it was absolutely wonderful. So I'm just enjoying lots of little seeds blossoming right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jenny just
made
a move.
Are you both getting seeds? Are you both feeling those seeds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think so. I moved from Northern California to north of Albuquerque in Placitas, which is a lovely little retirement artisan community. And I just got a job today, one I've chosen to actually go with. I had many interviews in the area, but this place is called Amethyst, and they just do amazing energy work and body work, and they have acupuncture and everything, and they have classes and groups in the back. And so I'm going to be there a couple of days a week, and I'm so slammed with appointments. It just keeps getting more and more over the years, and that's how you gain clientele. So I've just been really busy in landing in New Mexico. How about you, Cinnamon? What are you into?
I moved too.
Did you?
Oh.
Yeah. You know, it's
funny,
but I knew that we were going to move. And I had been feeling it for quite some time, and Spirit had told me that we would be placed. And I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for it to happen, and another year would go by, and another year would go by, and I'm going, well, I guess it's not happening real soon. But it did happen late last fall. And we got settled in, and now I am expanding on some of my path work. I can't talk about it yet because I'm in the learning phase, and I don't know exactly what they're going to want me to do, but it's an expansion of what I'm already doing, so I'm comfortable enough with it that I'll be taking it a step further. And that's exciting, and I've got some new guides that have come in, so that's exciting, and I'm getting attuned with them and starting to learn why they're here and what they have to teach me. And so even at my age, you can still have lessons. I don't think we ever stop learning. And but it's good. And I know that the work that they're asking me to do is going to take me a few years to get it seated, and out there. So I'll be around for a while.
Yes, you will, and we're glad of it. Cinnamon, what part of the country are you in? Are you in the north or south?
I'm in the Midwest, upper Midwest, and I like it here. Nice. This is home. I love the 4 seasons. They're very visible. They're very tangible. You can feel them. I feel it in the air when they're going to shift long before the calendar says they will. I can feel the air changing. And I love that.
I love the Midwest. Yep. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Michigan, and I really enjoy the 4 seasons. It's just the snow gets me, so I find myself in the high desert.
Well, we just got a good dumping. There was between 3 and 6 inches that fell around the city. So we've got a good dumping on us, and now it's cold, 14 degrees. So.
Oh boy, it is cold there.
Yeah. But this is something I'm used to. I bundle up and put your parka on. You're warm enough. I look like a purple marshmallow going down the street, but
oh, I love it.
Can't you just see her looking so damn cute walking down the road with her purple outfit?
Absolutely. I love the snow. Winter is one of my favorite seasons. I lived in Florida for like a year and a half, and I missed a winter, and it was strange for me, especially, the kind of witchy, earthy parts of my soul that really love that change of season. I felt like a fish out of water, even though I was next to the ocean at the time. And now that I've been back, it's been, I don't know, snow for me is so cleansing and refreshing, and I just feel like it encourages everyone to take a breath and to slow down and to tune into themselves. And it brings like such a silence to it. And I appreciate it so much. And I love the change of season. So I honor that.
Yeah. I think every season has its own energy. They have their own attributes. And if you're attuned to them, boy, you can really communicate with the elements and work with them and bring them into your manifestations, and that's powerful because they are the
Maybe we
could
talk
shamanic.
Yeah, I would love to talk about that a little. We were talking about working with totems before the show. Maybe we could start with elements and work our way into some totems and guides, and I'd love for you to share.
Sure. Where do you want to go with it?
Well, let's start with the elements and communicating with them. That sounded really amazing.
Okay, well, there are 4 elements: air, fire, water, and earth. And when I work with clients, I always start them out with air because that is the element of the mind, and you're opening your mind to new concepts. It's also the element of abstract thinking and philosophy and higher chaotic energies that come into the mix and stir things up as creation begins. So it's where you kind of get your seed, if you will, and then move them into the study of the element of fire, because that is the physical element of experience. And it's through experience we have our lessons in life. And then you move to water, which is understanding, and much more. Of course, there's more to all these elements, but you go from experience to understanding, and then to earth, which is your wisdom. And in the element of air, you get your concepts, your inspiration, your enlightenment, and then you go explore that seed that's been handed to you in the element of fire, and you have to explore carefully, don't you? You don't want to be careless. You don't want to be reckless. You don't know what you're getting into until you get into it. And so the element of fire is going to bring you your lessons, and as you go through them, there are trials by fire. You're going to want to pay attention to when those lessons are coming at you, because if you just go through life thinking ignorance is bliss, we're like the fool in the tarot, turned upside down. Boy, are we in for trouble. Because you can't go dabbling. Dabbling gets you in trouble. You've got to know what you're doing. So as you study each of the elemental forces, each element is going to represent a season. It's going to represent a creature. It's going to represent a color. It's going to represent plants. It's going to represent minerals, ores, gems, different things align with different seasons. And so as you study these things, you discover how those attributes play within you as well. And you start to align to the element in your own way, because each one of us is unique. So what air means to me is going to mean basically the same thing for everybody else, but in a slightly different way. And that's okay. We have to recognize what's right for us. And it may not be the way somebody else does something. When I was a little girl,
I love that.
Air was the first element that came to me. I was born as an air sign. And I was, I don't know, I think 5 years old enough to pin clothespins on the clothesline and make a house, with the sheets. And the wind came, and it was blowing. I had long hair, and it was blowing that hair in my face. And I pointed and said, "Go over there. Get out of here. Go on. Leave me alone. Go over there." And it did. And then it came back, and it did it again. And I pointed somewhere else, and I said, "Go over there," and it did. And that happened like 3, 4, 5 times. I don't know how many now, but quite a few. And I realized it knows what I'm saying. I thought I was Air's boss, of course. I was little. You find out later that's not the case. But I learned to communicate with it, and I took it very naturally. It happened, and it understood me, so I figured, hey, we can talk. And we did. And I learned how to work with it. And I learned how to call water to me. And I can sometimes, not every time, but quite often, I can bring rain if I need it, or send it away if I don't want it there for a reason. I'm very careful about how I work with that or how I summon the wind, because when you call it, you're calling it away from somewhere else. It's on a mission already. It's going somewhere. And you're asking it to stop what it's doing and come to you. So you have to think about what you're doing before you just go do it. You might be taking, for instance, water from parched land just to try and do something. And you're depriving. So you have to think about the repercussions, because no matter what you do magically, it's going to go beyond you and out into the world, and it's going to touch other people. It's going to touch other areas, other environments, other elements. Everything is interconnected. You can't do one thing without creating a chain reaction somewhere else. Can't. So understanding the elemental forces is something that helps you understand yourself as well. And then it opens the door to dimensional realities. It brings in the nature spirits. It brings in elemental beings that come from those dimensions, and they'll work with you. They'll bring you guides and guidance. So there's a whole lot you can get out of that. And they give you different perspectives. If you I work with the 7 sacred directions, so that's the 4 elements, the below world or the past, the present, the middle world, and the above world, which is the future, so in the Sky Nation. So when you're working with 7 sacred directions, you can go to another tradition, and they're going to call it the 7 rays. It'll be 7 something, whatever tradition you're looking at. But when you understand those 7 perceptions and their abilities or attributes, they're going to give you a very 7-dimensional perspective on an issue or a situation or a person or whatever you're looking at, yourself. So you see it from all angles. It's the difference between looking at a picture of a statue or being at the museum and walking all the way around it, looking at it from above, up at it. It's pretty interesting. And that spills into the totem animals, because when they're coming from a specific direction, they're bringing those attributes with them. And if they're heading into another direction, they're taking those attributes and applying them to the situation that they're addressing. So all of it ties together.
Cinnamon, what were the last 3? You said the 7, the 4 elements, and then there were 3 more. Did you say below world, above
below, middle,
world,
and above
what
world.
was the other?
There's 3 worlds. 3 worlds. Below, middle, and above. Below is the past, middle is the present, and above is the future. Just to And that's very, very, very basic, But
Sure.
yeah.
Oh,
So cool.
So you're
cool.
going to bring
gonna
beings from other dimensions and space and star beings and that type of thing from the above world too. You see, the ancestors live in the below world. That's the past. They come forward from the past. Time folds in on itself, and the three worlds, if you were to stack them as below, middle, and above, they function as the central axis, which is also the seat of Creator. And so they're the central axis of things that spin around. And you've got the four elements that go around those three worlds to give you a physical diagram. Am I making sense, or am I losing
medicine?
you? Pardon me?
No,
I'm
taking notes.
We're with you. I have 8,000 questions. Yep, this is great.
Did you learn that in did you learn that in typical Chinese medicine, or is that something you just studied like a la carte, or where did you get into that?
It's shamanic and indigenous. That's the foundation, the cornerstones of the medicine wheel.
Cool.
Beautiful.
See?
Simon, what do you think about the concept?
Then there are, if you take the four elements and put them each in a quadrant, right? And then you have the three worlds in the center, and then you have three moons between each cornerstone. So there's three moons for every season, right? So you have three stones between each cornerstone, and that's the 12 moons of the year. And then you have Grandmother Moon in the center ring. There's a center hub, Grandmother Moon, Grandfather Sun, Mother Earth, and the four clans. 7 stones around the center stone that represents Creator, and the three worlds that run between all of this as an axis.
That's fun imagery.
So it ties everything together. And there are variations on the wheel that can allow it to be used in many ways, so it becomes a gyroscopic, kaleidoscopic university, because everything has a way of teaching, and you can draw paths between the stones, so learning different things. Everything goes into the center for enlightenment and back out into the world again.
Perfect circle.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it. Cinnamon, I have a question. What do you think of the concept of collective emotions creating weather patterns?
Oh, boy.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I haven't really thought of it, but it doesn't ring false to me. I think we're seeing where the internet has created its own web. I mean, physically, yes, there's the World Wide Web, but there's also an energetic web that runs. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can feel things coming from different people across the internet when I'm at my computer. I'll address certain things to certain people, and I'll say, "Is this what I'm picking this up? Is that right?" They'll go, "Yeah. How'd you know?" Well, energy's coming across. So why not collective? The collective is powerful. It's
so
extremely powerful. And where the majority of people are placing their thoughts and their emotions, why not within the weather? It certainly has impact on society, doesn't it?
Definitely.
I just can't help but notice it. And when I take a step back and when I look as we get closer to election seasons and all of a sudden there's superstorms showing up and more natural disasters and flooding, and with what happened with Australia, once everyone really started paying attention, and they sent so much energy to the point where the fires then turned to floods. And I'm like, I really think there's maybe something to this. And it's just been something that's been interesting to sit back and take a look at.
But I think there's just equally, and I'm not trying to get a conspiracy theory going, but I do know that the government has been working with weather patterns for a long time. Since
that was 60s. My next question. I'm like, if we're going conspiracy, I'm going to ask him what he thinks about controlled weather, because there's this group called CERN that's supposed to be doing some really interesting cellular or molecule work. And then, of course, you hear the stories of Atlantis and how they were trying to control the weather, but indeed it blew them up or something. Like, oh, boy. And then I've heard the Japanese have been messing with the weather for a long time. So I think it's not a conspiracy. I think on some level there's some manipulation happening. Chemtrails, all the things.
My brother, who has passed away, was working with the Navy and I lost count of how many top secret security clearances he had. And this was back in the 60s, and he and another serviceman had created an engine that was air-propelled, and they wanted it, and they wouldn't give it to him because they knew that it was going to be used for harm, not good. So they didn't pass on the information. And back then, he told me, they're playing with the weather. They're playing with sonar. They're messing with the sea creatures, the whales and the dolphins, and they're beaching themselves because of the sonar tests they're doing underwater, and all kinds of things underwater, above, in the air. They're very covert, and I'm not an expert on it by any means, but I know it's been going on for a long, long time, 50 years that I know of. And if you can go back to the Philadelphia experiment, they were working with teleportation.
I watched a documentary on that.
For years, that ship was missing, and then all of a sudden it reappeared. So, yeah.
Do you think that they went into another dimension?
Pardon me?
Do you think that the ship disappeared into another dimension and then reappeared?
Absolutely. They were cloaking. Yeah, they were cloaking. Yeah.
I'll have to look into that one. That was in Philadelphia?
The Philadelphia experiment. It's old news, honey. But probably.
I know. I like looking up old news sometimes.
It's from the 50s.
I think it was exactly.
I think it was in the 50s, if memory serves me right.
I think
when that happened. I was a little girl, so I can't remember exactly what year, but I want to say 58, but I could be wrong. You can type in a Google search for Philadelphia experiment and see what it comes up.
Oh yeah, I'm going to. I love looking
at things like
that.
There's another issue out there where they're warping time, and some people are affected by it and some people aren't. So
have you heard of the Mandela effect? Mandela effect?
Mandela? I think that's what I'm talking about, yeah.
It sounds like it, and I'm sure there's a couple things that they're doing out there, but that was one of them. And apparently there was a large portion of people, who remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison when indeed he didn't.
Yes.
And so they were looking into this time warp thing that she's talking about, how they're either mass hypnotherapy for the masses, or if they're kind of just, I don't know. We don't really know exactly what they're doing because it's top secret. But
well, I remember the news coming out that he died. I remember hearing that he died.
You actually remember?
Yeah.
Oh, please tell us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's all I remember about it. I was young when it happened, and it was so many years ago, but he was in prison, and they announced that he had died. And then the next thing you hear is that he's still in prison and he's being released. Now, many years later, he's being released. And so this is what that time warp thing is all about. And I'm not an expert on that either, but I know that these things are being talked about, and some people have something so simple as Star Wars, right? The movie Star Wars. I had a list of like 13 examples for this, but when Darth Vader says, "Luke, I am your father," some people heard it one way and some people heard him say it another. There was a change in the line somehow. Or Darth Vader is your father, or Darth Vader says, "Luke, I am your father," something like that. And I can't quote it exactly, but that's the same principle. This person remembers something happening this way, and this person remembers, Mr. Rogers, it's a lovely day in the neighborhood. It's going to be a good day in the neighborhood. What did you hear growing up? However that line changed, for many people it changed for masses of people. There are people that will swear to both accounts.
I think they're messing with timelines.
Yeah, there's people that will swear to both accounts, hearing that. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot going on out there that we don't understand. The government was doing how much research with remote viewing before they admitted openly that it was even possible. But it is. We know it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. There's a good one on TV called Project Blue Book.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. They've got so many different operations out there that they say it's for security purposes. They keep it quiet, but I think it's for keeping the government powerful, in control, in the know about what's capable of happening, and dumbing down the citizens. They try anyway. Yep. And then you'll get a government over in Europe somewhere that's openly admitting to all that. And it's
a damn rodeo.
It is.
It's a rodeo, but
it's a rodeo or a roller coaster ride. One of the two. You're up and down.
Rodeo on a roller coaster,
cool, right? I guess we incarnated to experience it all and check it all out and discover it all and, learn.
Yeah.
Cinnamon, this has just been so wonderful, and we are always so honored to hold space with you.
Well, we got off on
Cinnamon has
offbeat topics tonight.
That's how this show works.
My favorite.
We let spirit lead. I love it. It's perfect. We always have a loose outline in case, but this is wonderful. And Cinnamon, will you tell our listeners, number one, about your show coming up next, and then number two, how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. It's Cinnamon Moon at Night. I will be on in about, looks like about 18 minutes, 17 minutes. Mm-hmm. And that's here on Blog Talk Radio. And tonight I'm going to be talking about 5D and how attunement is important, how it restores our balance when we do attune to it, because of all these shifts that we're going through, whether you're conscious of them or not. They can throw you off track energetically. So attuning to 5D and moving into that evolutionary dimension. So I'm going to be talking about that tonight. And where can you find me? You can find me at Spirit Lodge, which is my website. I've got two addresses for that. It's spiritlodge.online and spiritlodge.itgo.com. Or you can find me at Two Moons Talking, my group over on Facebook, or my Cinnamon Moon page there. And I want to thank you ladies for having me on. Jenny and Mandy, thank you.
It's a pleasure, always a pleasure. We appreciate you for coming, Cinnamon. Everyone, in about 12 minutes, head over to her show, get some education, get some knowledge on that 5D. We love you, Cinnamon. We'll have to have you on before we end season 3, see what you're doing at the end of the season, see how fall's treating you.
Okay, sounds good. You have a good evening, everybody.
You too.
And thank you for having me on.
Cinnamon. Oh, thanks for coming. Have a great night.
You too, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was just magical.
She is magical. I see that we have a caller. Should we pop in and answer it?
Sure.
I thought maybe we could chat with a caller for a few minutes and then wrap it up with some more news and goings-ons of ours.
That sounds good to me.
We've got a caller from 559. Caller from 559. Tell us your name,
Hello.
where you're calling from, and what your question is. Hi.
Well, my question is this. I want to know what 2020 will bring for me in terms of love. I'm ready to have kids, and I'm ready to get married and find a husband. And I really hope this is the year for that. Evelyn.
Evelyn. And Evelyn, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the state of California.
Coming from California helps me get the energy a little bit better. Take a look here. Mandy, do you want to start us off, or shall I jump in?
Yeah, actually, I started shuffling my cards already, and the first card I pulled, Evelyn, was the Lover's card, followed by the Empress. So I think there is some really great energy for you to call in a partner this year, but they're showing with the Empress that you're going to be, taking a little time to yourself still first, and that when you come across this person, this counterpart of yours, you're going to be doing something that you really enjoy or that's meaningful to you, and it's going to happen really naturally. There might be a few ups and downs before your partner comes in, but know that everything that's happening this year is for the highest good. Did you recently have some sort of transition, like a job change or a move or something?
No, not yet.
Not yet, but you're going to?
I don't know. I'm considering getting a job closer to home.
Okay. I think that opportunity is going to be there for you if you so choose. You get, as Jenny always loves to say, you get to be the determiner, but I'm seeing some opportunities for some more money coming your way, for feeling a little bit more, more powerful, more comfortable, more in your element. So your angels are just wanting you to explore that. And it looks like that potential for a new relationship with a job is going to be coming in before a new relationship with romance. But romance is on its way. So they do want you to know that, and they just want you to be, just hang in there and be patient and trust that it's coming. What about you, Jenny?
Wonderful advice. I'm gonna piggyback on your information here. I pulled a couple cards, and the first one I pulled was the Seven of Wands, and this is a woman standing on a soapbox, a large soapbox, and people have pitchforks coming at her, and she's standing there with her wand saying, "I wish a mother would. I wish they'd come at me." And this is going to be the energy that they're asking you to bring in if you want something. You have to get up on top of things and look out and far and wide, because they're saying in order to manifest on this planet, everyone's so busy and in a rat race, and you're going to have to state your claim strong and actually really back it up with actions. You want to find a husband because you want kids? That's a tall order. You got to start making a list of things that you need in a partner. Let's just spout a few off. Loyalty, respect. It's going to be real important he wants kids. So that's going to have to be talked about right away. So they're saying start building your repertoire of what you need in a man, and the universe is going to be able to give it to you more easily with more details. But the thing they're bringing me back to is the work that's going to be involved to put yourself out there so that you can wrangle in some choices of a partner. Now get this. They're saying that's going to be the easy part. They're saying the hard part is merging two egos together. So they're saying we see all this coming in for you. It's going to be process after process after process, after growth after growth after growth. So if you want kids by the end of next year, they're saying the likelihood is very low of that, simply because of just the timing it takes to get to know someone, let alone get to know someone and choose to have children. So they're saying this is going to be a road, and it looks several years long. How old are you now?
I'm 37.
Because they gave me, when you said you were wanting to get married and have kids, they're like, she should have been doing this 10 years ago. And they weren't being rude. They were just saying that her age is showing that if she wants to jump into that, she needs to make it happen yesterday. And this is difficult because what they're saying is in order to find someone you want to raise a child with, you're going to have to get to know them and see if you can merge your energy. So they're saying if that's what you want, you're going to have to get higher up on that soapbox and really put a ton of effort into wrangling choices in so that you can make choices from choices, meaning run in and, for example, if you want to get the energy moving quickly, consider having dinner or lunch with a couple different people in the week. So they're saying, again, you do it however you want. You're the determiner of this, but they're saying if you want kids by the time you're like, let's say 40 or 41, they're saying this is time to put it in overdrive. And this looks like, they're just saying, if you want that, they're saying speed date, sister, because you're going to have to go through a many amount to find. And this is just all women. This is that you're not difficult. They're just saying, in order for old soul women to find partners that suit them, they have to go through a lot of dating or a lot of different, not always, but very commonly, we have to go through many situations to really start to understand what we want. So what they're saying is, speed date. If you want kids by the time you're 41, make dating a priority if you can afford it. Meaning if you got a solid job and you can make sure your rent's paid, put all your spare time into going out into the world, so meetups or gatherings or festivals or museums, because you want to tell the universe that you're going to, you want something, but you're also willing to move and stir the energy to get it. They're saying that's what's going to make it happen faster, not hoping and wishing. That's the first step to manifestation. The second step is where it's at. It's where the magic is in the third dimensional existence, which is backing up your words with actual physical actions. And we're just going to send you on your way with all kinds of abundance and heart energy. I'm just going to give a little zip through your chakras so that you can be prepared to do the movements and required to get to the place you want to go. And again, they're showing several steps. So try not to think of frustration energies when it's not happening quick enough. That's going to slow it down. So they're saying be positive, be open, and anytime you get frustrated or anxiety, go ahead and back it up with a physical action, because that anxiety is not doing anything for you, but actually doing a little research and calming your mind, that does something for you. Do a little meditation. So I'm just fleshing out your chakras, starting at the root chakra, beautiful red spinning wheel of light. Everybody listening can work on their own chakras, or they can work on our guest chakras. Going ahead and clearing that out, giving a little spin, growing out the roots into the ground, to the center of the earth, popping up to the sacral chakra in the belly button. This holds passion and creativity. I'm going to open yours up big and wide because you want to feel passion. Passion is pretty. It's beautiful. People are attracted to it. So you want your passion and your frequency high so you, again, get more of those choices to sort through for your potential partner. Popping up to that solar plexus, yours is closed down a little bit. I'm stretching it out. This is self-worth, self-confidence, and self-love. They're saying this is the one that needs the attention. Certainly all the other chakras are very important, but they're saying work on your self-confidence. Work on it now before you bring in the partner, because when you bring in that other potential twin flame or soulmate, they're going to put you through the ringer. And it's not because they're mean. It's because they got their own karma that's going to brush up against yours. So work with your self-security. It's going to help you stand stronger. Like I said, the easy part's finding them. The hard part's keeping it together. We're going to go up into that heart chakra. Yours is very large. I don't know if you're working as a healer, but in past lives, you've absolutely been a healer. You've got a healer's heart. We're giving it a spin. Looks like there's a little grief. I'm sure you've had some loss in your existence. You don't have to be a psychic to see that people have had loss. We're human. We lose things. So just fleshing out the grief that's in there. A little touch of guilt, moving that energy, replacing it with acceptance and love, because that's what alchemy is, changing the dynamics of an energy we don't like into one we do like. It's magic. Popping up into that throat chakra. I'm going to open yours up much bigger than it is, because in order to get your truth across, we have to communicate it. And when you run across these potential partners, you're going to want to be able to speak your truth. Giving that baby blue throat chakra another little spin. Going into your third eye, beautiful, sparkly third eye. Looks like an amethyst, sparkling and turning. They're showing all these past lives where you've definitely played around with telepathy. You like to incarnate into dimensions where it's more accessible than it is here. Going up into that crown chakra, reminding you you're always connected to the divine. And it looks like You have past loved ones coming through and waving and saying, we'll see you on the flip side. We all come back to where we come from, and you just have a lot of support in the non-physical. And this is your karma. They're saying you come here to learn lots and lots of things, and you got lots of karmas, but one of which is to find an equal partner. And again, not easy for the old soul female, not easy for the old soul, I'll say. So we're just going to spin you in white light, Evelyn, and they're just rounding you out and just flushing through any places that I miss, going through your adrenals and your nervous system, because believe me, dating, I know you know, will put you on edge and have your nervous system fried. Go ahead and take some B vitamin, B complex vitamin. It's magic for the nervous system, and it turns your food into energy, amongst other things. And if you like to have a glass of wine or two, alcohol takes vitamin B out of our body, and if you take a vitamin B complex, you won't have any sort of dehydrations or tired, sluggish feelings the next day. Not that everyone likes to drink wine like I do, but if there's anyone listening out there, it really does help with your nervous system as well as your adrenals and replenishing your body after a celebration. So we appreciate you for calling, Evelyn. This is the Alchemy Sisters. We are Heart Over Ego Radio. Yeah, it was such a pleasure. We have shows all through the week. Tune in, Heart Over Ego Radio. We have about 5 or 6 a week, and a lot of them are call-ins. So we're here to serve you and to assist you on your path and to, of course, get the good word out. So thank you for calling.
Thank you for sharing your beautiful gifts with the world, ladies. Thank you so much.
Oh,
you're amazing.
We love you.
Have a beautiful night.
Ooh, what a lovely guest.
Jenny,
did you feel that fire?
Beautiful. Oh, yeah. Jenny is one of the first alternative healers that I personally experienced and went to heal and grow and come along my path. And if you as a listener have not experienced Jenny McDaniel's gifts, they are absolutely amazing and they work, and I cannot advocate for them enough. So I just encourage our listeners, now that you got a little taste of the Jenny magic, to schedule some time with her when you get a chance. Jenny, how can they do that if they want to schedule some time with you?
You can email me at heartoverego@gmail. You can also find us on Facebook at the Alchemy Sisters. Mandy and I also play ball with Drew Pillow on the Everyday Psychic Show. And you can also find our whole network, Heart Over Ego Radio, on Instagram as well as Facebook now. So follow us, like us. You can also find us at Heart Over Ego at Blog Talk. Is that how I should say that, so they can find our Blog Talk account?
blogtalkradio.com/heartoverego radio.
Follow us, like us. You'll love all of our shows if you like this one.
Yes. Well, what a beautiful night. It was so nice to hold space with Cinnamon Moon. She is a star, literally, an ancient, cosmic, amazing star with a wealth of knowledge and a hunger for constantly learning and growing, and a wonderful role model to all. So it was truly an honor for us to hold space with her tonight.
She is a role model. I mean, if I'm coming at healing as hard as she is in my 70s, I'll be a happy girl. I will be a happy woman.
Oh, me too. I have, no other desire, I would say. So, Jenny, we have just a couple minutes left, and let's see, by the next time we meet, we will be in Mercury retrograde. Do you have any, and it'll be Valentine's Day, so maybe any love advice or Mercury retrograde advice coming up for our guests?
Well, I would say Mercury retrograde typically messes with communication and technology. Mercury is the planet of communications, and retrograde, you can put that together. But I want to be sure that everyone knows that you can start things in Mercury retrograde if that's the only time you can start it. Very often people get really dogmatic in it, and they'll put something off that really could have been started. And so I like to go ahead and have people make choices with caution all the time, whether it's pre-Mercury retrograde, post-Mercury retrograde. Be cautious all the time. Make good choices, because the way that I see it, technology, it's always going crazy for me, so I don't notice a difference of it being worse or more in Mercury retrograde, and I like to blame things on Mercury retrograde, of course, but I would say go ahead and be cautious, be aware, but I would say that anytime during the year. How about you, Mandy?
Same thing. I think retrograde's an opportunity for us to just kind of rest and recalibrate and step back. But that doesn't mean you can't start planting some seeds. Like, I'm using this time to, commit to a yoga challenge. I did one last month that I loved. I'm going to do one again because it felt great and it'll keep me disciplined. I'm going to work on some courses I want to create and my business and take action steps, but leave some room to understand and even laugh when miscommunications happen or it takes a couple more steps than usual, because that's just the energy. And it's important to honor it. So I just want to thank you so much, Jenny, for holding space. And I want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. I'm so grateful to be back here on Heart Over Ego Radio for season 3 of the Alchemy Sisters. And I wish everyone a beautiful night. Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.